Excited. Let's see what's going to happen. Stephano versus HerO, and it's going to be on Ohana, folks. The countdown has commenced. Frodan, this is going to be an insane match. You got to feel like HerO has got something planned for this map.
He definitely does. I mean, it's also a point of comfort. Ohana has been around for quite some time. What's going to happen on Ohana, we don't know, so just come with us. This is Frodan Kibbles at IPL 5. We're getting ready for another game between Stephano and HerO, game number 2. Whether you guys are a fan of Zerg or Protoss or anything in between, get ready because this match is 50-50. Just look at the percentages. Stephano versus HerO, and this is the IPL.
IPL 5. Welcome to IPL 5 Ohana.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Ohana, and in the bottom right-hand corner, from the team Evil Geniuses, the Zerg, who is currently up 1-0 against his opponent, it is Stephano.
Yiji Stephano raid call.
Guys, Stephano is facing off against his opponent, spawning in the top left-hand corner of the map. He's looking pretty prepared. From the team Liquid, the blue Protoss player, HerO.
Liquid HerO.
Now HerO is doing a very interesting opening, but he's been doing this for a while. Putting a forge in his main base. He has the option of, defending against any kind of early pools, as well as, just be generally safe. You save a little bit of minerals too. It's not that big a difference, but you want to be as greedy as possible within reason. And also, you still can get a Nexus at a pretty reasonable time. It's something that HerO's been doing. I actually like it. I tried it out myself. It's pretty effective.
Yeah. No, it definitely is. And, we've been seeing this tendency towards a lot more greed lately out of pretty much every player. And we're in the process of seeing a swing back to some very aggressive tendencies, in fact, out of all players. Because you're just finding that, hey, half the time my opponent just opens with something that is insanely too risky, and I can punish them for it.
Yeah, it's really funny, right? How in the early days of StarCraft 2, it was all about punishing greed, but nowadays it's all about how much can I get away with greed from both players, whether you choose to play really macro heavy, or even it's really funny because now it's like a weird fusion of 2 and 3 base all-ins where we get like 2.5 base all-ins where you just kind of grab the gases, not really too much minerals, or even vice versa.
Yeah. No, we were actually, I was talking with Jorisar about that earlier, and the fact that you have, these all-ins that aren't so much all-ins anymore.
No, you can't even really use the term all-in.
Yeah. I mean, there are all-ins, but they're like 10 gates. They're actually, that's what they are.
It's really tough, and I think in the end, it all comes down to your strategy. How are you playing the series, not necessarily just the game. And again, it's going to be up to HerO. Now, he is confirming the third base, the third hatchery. We have seen some Zergs cancel that hatchery and get a quick roach for him, but I don't think that's the case at all. Stephano, again, not a player to necessarily take those risks.
But at the same time, look at Zenio. He throws down some gases in his main base and busts you with Banelink. So, I mean, you don't need to cancel the hatchery to all in, but no, it's definitely really, really cool how everything has been shifting, and it's really consequence to it. These players, you make the metagame, and the way it forms itself is just, I want to play as greedy as possible while being as safe as possible. And you find these builds where you're actually, at all the timings that your opponent can have, you're pretty relatively invulnerable, and you can actually have the potential to hold anything off as long as you micro correctly. And that's really, that's what all these builds boil down to.
Couldn't agree more, Kibbles. Now, we do see that +1 weapons on the Forge is being researched, and, well, Stephano will want to see that. It's just going to be indicative of a lot of variables and timing. It is also pretty common to see, but it's also tucked away in the main base. That's the part of the strength of this build at the same time, because you can hide that information, and HerO going for a very quick robot is natural as well, and this could set up for a very quick Immortal push.
Yeah, it definitely could be, but we're very late on the gas right now. mean, with no disruption at all, 530 is typically, I mean, we're already at 630, guys, so having the gas go down after the Robo and substantially afterwards, it looks like he's going to push the Overlord out of here. By the way, it did see the Robo. We could see a double gas here out in a moment from here, and there it is. The double gas is going down, and I think you're right, Frodan. It looks like it may be. He didn't make the second gas.
Oh, well, he almost went for it. Regardless, 3 gases is a significant amount early on, especially if you chose your Robotech this quick. Yep, you can get out a good number of sentries. You can also do, you know, that thing where you look like you're making a third base, you kill your own rocks, basically set up an elaborate scenario to make your opponent believe you're going to expand, and then don't, and just push and surprise your opponent.
A really fast Warp Prism. This looks like something that is relatively,
okay.
Yeah, it's relatively classic HerO.
Sentry
Zealot
drop.
Warp-ins with a Sentry drop. Yep.
It's really effective still. Sorry.
That was a beautiful falsetto, Frodan. Why weren't you a singer?
I used to be a soprano, and then at the age of 9, my voice became like a bass.
You would have made a fantastic great singer.
No, man. It was actually quite... People made fun of me all the time.
You'd be too famous.
Well, because I was the only Asian in my middle school, and the fact that I had the Asian in middle school with the lowest voice kind of freaked everyone out. So,
yeah. Okay.
This is actually a really smart play based off the metagame too. The build that HerO is doing, because a lot of Zergs feel like, oh, if I have to get ready for an Immortal push, I have to focus everything on the third, right? Spread creep, make sure the Spine Crawler up. So everything is focused on the third base, but HerO, of course, he wants to distract and go into the main, so the center of attention from Stephano might be elsewhere. Although Stephano hasn't seen any indication of an Immortal yet, he does see the Warp Prism. Can he get there in time?
Yes, he can, Frodan, and the force field goes down, but not before a number of Zerglings do make it into the main, and that's going to push HerO out and substantially weaken the power of this build.
Oh, but I mean, HerO's doing this really nice. He's pressuring, he's splitting up his Zealots, not clumping them up. That's going to draw attention away from, I guess, being able to force field the ramp. And HerO is able to get into a nice position, but the Roach is also on the high ground, so he's going to have to pick up the sentries again.
Oh, he gets the sentry into the Warp Prism right before the Roaches target fire down the Zealots, cleaning up all of the Zerglings on the ground, and HerO may be able to make this work, but more Roaches are continuing to spawn for Stephano, and look at the number of Roaches that just came down the ramp. It looks like HerO is going to be pushed out.
Yeah, and HerO, of course, this was all just a way to safely harass, maybe get Giant Warp in, kill off some tech structures, kill off the Queen, kill off drones. But HerO already fallen back to his contingency plan, as you do see Blink, as well as finishing up that +1 armor, which is very valuable against a Zergling-based army. A lot of Protosses in the past said, you know what, armor's not that important, but with, you know, Zerglings with high attack rate, low damage, it's very valuable indeed.
All right, more harassment out of HerO, just doing a little bit of damage with these units that have shields for them. It looks like HerO is going to be moving to take that third base, the Immortal shelling away, but you know, he's a little low on minerals right now. When he gets out to that third, we can see Stephano's prepared for this completely. He's got Zerglings in position already, but we're going to need to see HerO drop a couple of gateways as well as a Nexus down here in a minute.
Yeah, and you know, he's just going to pressure again with the Warp Prism.
Oh.
Ooh, nice pick from Stephano. HerO just takes his eyes off of his Warp Prism for 1 second, and that's what happens when you get punished.
Yeah, he lost a lot there. 2 full energy sentries and a Zealot without really killing anything. Stephano now going to be forced out of the third base of HerO, but yeah, I mean, this is, once again, we're seeing around a 12. This is going to be an 11.5-minute third. Out of HerO, will Stephano be able to force the cancel on? He's going to come in really fast with a bunch of Zerglings here, try to mass DPS, and he will force the cancel.
Yeah, but he also burned a lot of force fielding on the backside, not necessarily able to use a lot on the front side to protect against all of the Roaches. HerO does micro this pretty well, though, putting the sentries in the back. Needs to protect the Immortals. They're very valuable. Stalker warping as well. The force fielding going to force all of the Roaches onto the right side, but the surround kibbles and these Immortals dropping is invaluable for HerO's ability to expand.
HerO does not want to lose a second Immortal. There are the force fields that will save its life, and that was very important. HerO is going to need every unit he can get at this point, but he does hold for now.
Very nicely done by both Stephano and HerO. HerO could have lost way more if he wasn't careful. But at the same time, it's kind of an interesting flip of the tables. Stephano did commit a lot of resources, incredible amount of resources. Look at that, double the amount of resources lost in order to, I guess, force that third to cancel. Now, it does buy him a lot of time, again, to make sure to delay those gases, prevent HerO from having the comfort of being able to tech to wherever he is. But how do you feel like the state of this game is? Do you feel like one player's an advantage, or do you think it's still pretty even?
Well, HerO's got, you know, his +3 on the way right now. He's also working on the Robo facility, or on the Robo Bay. So he's going to be going for Colossi, but, you know, I just hate that failed harass that we saw out of HerO. He just didn't get any damage done, and then losing those sentries over at Stephano's third just put him in a little bit of a tough spot. But he cleaned up a lot of lings there and didn't lose too much time on his Nexus, so relatively even. Gives Stephano a slight edge right now, especially when I look at his bank.
Oh yeah, man. Stephano's bank account is full, not just in StarCraft, but also in real life.
Those tournament winnings.
Stephano, he's also pressuring, just slightly controlling the middle of the map, seeing if there's any pylons, being able to get a good sense of unit composition, constantly seeing if, is HerO switching his tech at all? Is he trying to rush for any kind of specific units? It's a nice thing to do.
Yeah, Stephano definitely known for poking in a lot, seeing if he can get any free damage in, just make sure his opponent's army's at home. HerO at the same time has continually tried to do damage with this War Prism and just hasn't been able to get anything done as of late, but Stephano does not have a fourth, so it's 3 base versus 3 base right now, and that's pretty nice for HerO.
Yeah, and that's if you can deny this fourth base the way he's been able to pressure on it the previous game, then it can change everything. Look at that, HerO sees, conveniently a fourth base. And well, that's not convenient at all.
Oh no, but he doesn't target fire, and suddenly these zealots are going to be cleaned up so easily. I thought we were going to see, what Stephano had done there, trade a little bit of money to force a cancel, but no. Stephano going to manage to clean that up very easily.
Yep, the Colossus is not out yet into position, and Stephano is, he's pretty much maxed. He's going to put on lots of pressure. Now, because there's not a lot of AoE, Fungals and Infested Terrans can really dominate this army, especially since a lot of Sentry energy was burned earlier on. HerO does not have the luxury of being able to spam any kind of reaction, and as a result, a lot of Zerglings get in, and just a momentary notice, the Fungal on the Sentries prevent them from being able to run away, and Infested Terrans also coming to the scene. One of the Colossus is not even firing. It's sitting idle and micromanaging the other one. Good job! Keep firing!
Yeah, that's absolutely vital for HerO to survive this. He needs that DPS. The unit's now streaming in through the hole that they've created on the right-hand side. HerO starting to crumble a little bit, but I really like his unit positioning here. We'll see if he can manage to hold on. The supply for Stephano is plummeting. HerO is holding pretty stable right now. Has he lost a lot of workers? It does look like maybe, but for now, he's definitely going to hold, and in fine form, Stephano maybe getting a little bit over-aggressive there.
I did kill a lot of sentries, though. Look, there's not a single sentry that survived. A great hold by HerO to be able to take care of all those Infested Terrans, getting 2 out just in the nick of time, as we were saying. Infested Terrans can just kill everything if there's no AoE. But Stephano, I think he kept his Infestor count alive pretty well. Overall, he didn't lose everything, and HerO is not like he has ability to really push out because he's just going to get flanked as well. I still think Stephano is sitting in a nice position.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, especially because behind this, he's not only grabbed his 4th base Frodan, but his 5th as well. And this is not something that HerO knows or expects. He's continuing. We see the Warp Prism kind of hanging over here at the 4th, but there's Corruptors on it now. Stephano may be able to take this out. We'll see if the Fungal goes down. It does, in fact, as the Zealot drops. That was so gorgeous out of Stephano there. But yeah, the Warp Prism going to make it out alive, but HerO still doesn't know about this bit.
I mean, I don't think it's going to change the fact that HerO can go for a savage 3-base push, though. All you need is 3 Colossus, a huge influx of gateway units. Primarily Stalkers, obviously. You can have Zealots. Ooh, and look at that. Incorporating Templar Archives, feedback, and Storm can be pretty useful at this point, especially if there's no Broodlords to zone off everything and really make you afraid to approach the Death Ball. You can still push in a really nice, useful way, but HerO is going to do this very slowly, systematically, moving gradually to take his 4th base. And if he gives Stephano that time, especially since Hive has started, he might be missing his biggest window of opportunity.
Absolutely, Dan. And it does look like HerO's going to try to go down for this 4th base. If he's going to be able to secure it is another question entirely, as Stephano is coming in. This is absolutely going to be canceled. He has no response to this. The Stalker's going to blink in. The cancel does go down for HerO, and the Link should be able to get out of here. We'll see if he decides to engage instead.
The Colossus, not necessarily that well protected, but a blink forward to protect them, but that's going to put them in danger of the Infestors, the Fungals, and the Zerglings. But the Zerglings are all bunched up. The Colossus able to deal with this so quickly. Look at how quick the Zerg army just melts away. HerO able to Marco and protect this Colossus brilliantly. And you know what? He kept 3 out of the 4 alive.
He did. HerO played that exactly like he needs to if he wants to go to a game 3. Sectioning off all of those Infestors. Only 2 of them made it through, Dan, and they were the 2 with no energy on them. HerO could not have had that engagement play out more beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, Stephano had the right idea. You know, he wanted to force the cancel in the fourth. He was buying time for his Greater Spire. He had a bank of 2,000 gas and he was ready, but now he has to remake other hard-hitting units that can sustain that time.
Yeah, and now, I mean, will he have the time? HerO's pushing out across the map. He's already taken out the 5th base, cleaning up a lot of creep behind this. We don't see him going for any big tech routes, so it looks like he may just push with this, and I mean, it makes perfect sense. He's got the Warp Prism on the way for some reinforcement, another Colossus working its way across the field, and we have a very powerful Protoss composition about to knock on Stephano's door.
Stephano's not prepared at all. He's well, he has a few Infestors and 8 Corruptors, but Zergling Roach against, well, Stalker, Colossus, and just having some Archons mixed into as well is super intimidating for any Zerg to fight. Here we go, HerO's going to push in. He also has the availability of just having a good number of Warp Prisms because the Warp Prism is getting to the field as fast as he can. Stephano picking a nice angle with his Corruptors to go in from the north side, but the Blink forward to also deal with it. There's not enough Corruptors really quick to kill all of the Colossus. HerO has a lot, but his Colossus is also in front, but it may not matter because he has so many units, saving the Colossus and the Warp Prism. Beautiful play out of Liquid's HerO.
That really was. He even let the Roach volley go off, and now HerO is about to clean up Stephano. Will Stephano have enough forces? He's got 15 Roaches, 2 Infestors on the way, but Dan, I don't know if it's going to be enough. A lot of these Stalkers are low, but the quantity of them is positively overwhelming.
Yeah, Stephano has 2 Infestors left, but Force Field's even trapping those Infestors. And, I mean, the Zealots, it's just some bad weather that's coming out on them because it doesn't even matter if they're there or not. More units being warped in here. Well played is called. Liquid HerO sends it to game number 3.
A beautifully played game there out of HerO, without a doubt, Dan. I mean, that engagement on the high ground, you can tell why Stephano wanted to go up there. You know, he wanted to have that staging ground to be like, I'm going to hold this position. You'll have to come through a narrow choke. But you can see HerO just feeling so good about that game, and Stephano thinking, where did it go wrong?
I mean, he did commit a lot to the 3rd base, and he didn't kill as much as he would like. He did kill off the sentries, but overall, I feel like Stephano, that push again at the 4th base, committed so much of his gas because he had to resupply on something. There's no way that he can hold everything on just that Zergling Corruptor Infestor against that mass Archon Stalker Colossus composition.
It was incredibly powerful out of HerO. And honestly, I mean, both major engagements went in favor of him. The one over at the 3rd, which you were discussing, we saw there were units everywhere. They were everywhere. They were behind the mineral line, sneaking shots between the crystals. There were Colossus up on the high ground. And although HerO didn't have the best micro, his position was just so phenomenal.
Yeah, I think HerO just showed that his situational micro is also really good because a lot of players come in with the idea, you know, I want to micro really well by dropping force fields, making sure to blink back. But in certain cases, the crisis situation calls for you to, I can't be here. I need to be here protecting my Colossus. I need to rearrange things spontaneously. And that's where I feel like HerO showed beautifully his ability to excel. He's
really
also, I mean, I also want to point out that HerO did a really good job being able to not overcommit to harass this game compared to last game. He didn't lose anywhere near the amount of same resources he did in game number 1.
Yeah. Consequently, I mean, we'll be keeping an eye to see what he opts to do in game number 3. I mean, Stargate play is very harassment-based, so probably not something we're going to see. It hasn't worked to the greatest effect, and as you've said, playing defensive style and just gearing up and making Stephano come to him, playing very macro-oriented perhaps, is where HerO's going to find his success versus Stephano.
Yep. I mean, there's a lot of maps that can still help Stephano out a lot, like Whirlwind is very big. You know, and I think Stephano doesn't feel too much pressure. I mean, he's been in these scenarios a lot. Yeah. Stephano can come in the clutch. But overall, I mean, that was the kind of game that HerO needed to kind of get momentum back in his feet. And, you know, you might say, Fodan, it's really obvious because obviously if you lost, you would have dropped to the losers bracket. But in terms of just the, you know, the mental dexterity saying, if I win game number 2, I have the momentum to go into game number 3. I mean, you've played before too. Which would you rather win, game number 1 or game number 2 to go into?
Oh, game number 2, absolutely. I mean, well, when you're in game number 1, you're like, oh. But if you win game number 2, now you've got the momentum. You're like, and especially with how decisive that was for HerO. I mean, every engagement, Stephano came out in a little bit of a deficit. So he's got to be feeling pretty good here, without a doubt. And Stephano, I mean, he's got to go back to the drawing board.
And, well, Stephano, I mean, he's sticking on this Ling Infestor style for a long time while having the availability of incorporating some roaches here and there into his composition. I like it. What are your thoughts currently about that kind of transition, because away from the roach-based army?
All right, so he's using a lot of the Lings. he's not going as infestor heavy as we've seen some Zergs do, because it's actually been really popular. You go for missile attacks, and you go for heavy Ling, and you just throw a couple of roaches in there, but very few, and you rely a lot on infested Terrans. But we're actually seeing Stephano here rely a lot on fungal growths, and because of that, he needs positioning. Positioning is the game for Stephano if he's going. If in game 3 we see him go for this, I mean, it's all about where the engagement happens. If his infestors get cut off and he can't land the fungals, his infested Terrans are not going to be nearly as strong. And I mean, with that said, like you saw that engagement, yeah, infested Terrans went down everywhere, and they just did almost no damage at all. So he needs. That's what it comes down to. He needs to get HerO. He needs to get HerO caught.
Yep. Really subtle things also like SimCity also helped HerO in that situation.
Absolutely.
We want to remind people that there's 3 streams going on concurrently for IPL5. If you want